gentlemen, shall we rise for the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
All of you across the continent and the globe, especially our gracious host, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, who has honored us with his presence. It is indeed a great pleasure to have you all with us as we open this inaugural edition of the Africa Women and Children Conference, AFRIWOCC, an initiative of the Samira Empowerment and Humanitarian Project on the theme, Amplifying the Voices of Women and Children in Climate Action.
I'd like to invite now for his statement, Member of Parliament for Damongo and Minister for Lands and Natural Resources Ghana, the Honorable Samuel A. Jinapor.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, Your Excellency, the Second Lady, Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, Minister for Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities of South Africa, colleague honorable ministers, excellencies, members of the diplomatic corps, Nananom, Nime, Name, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, proud partners of this event, thanks the organizers of this conference for making us a part of this historic conference. We salute Her Excellency, the Second Lady, Hajia Samira Bawumia, for her foresight in convening this maiden edition of the Africa Women and Children Conference on the theme, quote, Amplifying the Voices of Women and Children in Climate Action, end quote. Excellencies, for the past few years, the climate crisis has worsened. The United Nations warns that climate change is no longer precipitating global warming, but sadly leading to global boiling. All over the world, we are witnessing the devastating impact of climate change. Currently, China is confronting flooding never seen before. Europe and Americas are burning, and Africa is experiencing erratic rainfall patterns. This conference, therefore, comes at a critical time when the impacts of climate change are being increasingly felt, and more so by the vulnerable populations of the world. In our part of the world, women and children face multifaceted challenges relating to violence, inequality, discrimination, poverty, amongst others. These challenges have been exacerbated even further by the effects of climate change, thereby increasing women's vulnerability to climate impact. Women and children suffer the most as a result of this global climate catastrophe. Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is trite knowledge that climate change impacts women and children differently than it does to men. It is without a shred of doubt that unpredictable rainfall patterns, extreme weather events, rising sea levels, and droughts have particularly burdened women, especially those engaged in agriculture and during climate disasters. In its quest to address this injustice, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change has taken steps to improve the participation of women in climate change decision-making. The establishment of the Gender Action Plan in 2017 and the Enhanced Lima Work Program on Gender in 2019 have been instrumental in promoting gender equality in climate actions and policies. In recent times, children and young people have also become an integral part of global climate discussions, as evidenced by the Intergovernmental Declaration on Children, Youth, and Climate Action signed by the world leaders and young activists at the 25th Conference of Parties, COP25, in 2019 in Madrid, Spain. Here in our country, President Akufo-Addo's commitment to women empowerment and effective climate action is evident through a multitude of initiatives being implemented. Notable among them is the Ghana Red Plus strategy, which has given rise to two gender-responsive and significant climate initiatives, namely the Ghana Cocoa Forest Red Plus program and the Ghana Shared Landscape Emission Reduction Scheme, being executed in the High Forest Zone and the Northern Savannah Zone, respectively, all of which are being implemented by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. These initiatives have overarching goals to restore lost forests, enhance cocoa and share yields, create alternative livelihood options, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions for quantifiable carbon payment, and ultimately increase women adaptive capacities. The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources is also spearheading other climate change initiatives, such as the Ghana Shared Landscape Emission Reduction Scheme, the Ghana Forest Implementation Investment Scheme, the Cocoa and Forest Initiative, and the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program. Government's flagship intervention of aggressive reforestation and afforestation, dubbed the Green Ghana Day, which was launched in 2021 by President Akufo-Addo, has witnessed 3 editions of massive nationwide tree planting campaigns, including the One Student, One Tree initiative, which aims to inculcate the culture of tree planting and climate awareness in our children and the youth. Through these concerted efforts, Ghana seeks to create a more sustainable and equitable future which addresses the unique challenges faced by women and children in the context of forest and climate action nexus. As co-chair with the U.S. Special Presidential Envoy on Climate, Secretary John Kerry, on the Forest and Climate Leadership Partnership, FCLP, we strongly advocate for providing special attention to support initiatives led by indigenous peoples and local communities, particularly those involving women and children, in addressing the profound effects of climate change in their local landscapes. We at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources are of the firm belief that this conference will produce valuable feedback which will influence discussions on indigenous peoples and local communities at the global level and contribute significantly to designing unique interventions which empower women and children and make them resilient. As we look forward to the Africa Climate Week in Kenya and the 28th Conference of Parties in the United Arab Emirates, we urge all actors to contribute constructively to discussions on gender and children in climate change efforts, particularly for Africa, a continent that remains vulnerable despite being the least contributor to global emissions. Mr. President, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, prioritizing women and children in any discussion is prioritizing the sustainability of our planet. Once again, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources celebrates highly Her Excellency Hajia Samira Baumia for convening this Maiden Africa Women and Children Conference, AFRIWOCC 2023, and to our beloved President of our Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, we express our deepest thanks for your courageous and visionary leadership for hosting this conference at the highest level and gracing it with your esteemed presence. I thank you for your attention.
I stand before you today, ladies and gentlemen, recognizing very well the urgency and responsibility of all of us to help address a crisis that knows no borders and spares no one. The climate crisis that has brought our planet to a tipping point. The repercussions of this global crisis are profound, impacting every corner of our planet, transcending continents, and threatening the very fabric of life as we know it. Climate change is not a distant threat or a future concern. It is here, and it is happening now. When women are empowered, it directly translates into improved food security and economic stability. Educated women and educated children are better equipped to understand climate change impacts and adopt sustainable behavior. behaviors. I would like to reiterate my government's resolve to join hands with all of you to forge strong and beneficial partnerships towards crystallizing efforts to empower women and children, achieving the crucial net zero objective, and to mobilize the resources we need to build a climate-resilient economy that can withstand future threats, create decent jobs, and unlock inclusive and sustainable growth. May God bless Mother Africa and us all, and may God bless our homeland Ghana and make her great and strong. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. President.